protocol's sake, we may stand up, sing the national anthem, and after that we are going to have a prayer. Then we shall advise on what comes after that. We stand up. Stand and sing of Zambia, proud and free, land of work and joy, unity, victors in the struggle for the right. We've won freedom's fight. Oh, one, strong and free. Praise be to
Praise
God.
praise be.
Bless our great
Zambia,
nation.
Zambia, Zambia.
Free men we stand under the flag of our land. Zambia, praise to thee, O one, strong and free. Mr. Gasongo, you can pray for us.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we come before your presence at this appointed moment, oh my God. Katika mikani katika kwa waiti kitamandazina na tukia mikani. Kaleta kumana watu pasikia lelo mandamwana. As we gather here, oh my God, we commit this prayer in the blood of Jesus. We have gathered here, oh my God, not in our own making, oh my God, but for the people of Zambia. Therefore, oh my God, I surrender this prayer, Father, in the blood of Jesus, even as we interact with the leadership movement, oh my God. Father, we pray that your Holy Spirit, oh my God, take total control. In the mighty name of Jesus, Master, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much. Those who may wish to sit can sit. We just wish to welcome you to this press briefing. I think it should be the first in 2025, and hopefully many more are now going to come since we are back to engaging more with the media and the rest of the country. We welcome the media houses that are present here. May God bless you. You are indeed the window to the rest of the country. Without you, there is nothing that can be done. You are welcome to the President's residency as we discuss so many issues pertinent to the nation so that we see where we are moving and how leadership movement is perceiving the governance of the country. At this juncture, this is not my show. May I call Mr. Ngoma, who is our Secretary General, who will follow in with the other protocols. SG, sir.
Vichimbuya icho osachiopa ndiye onetituma kupayambeva. Okay. First thing first, media, as a case has been alluded to, we are very grateful to start with. Under short notice. Now, when I say media, mukambati local is like media, njala. So what we mean by local is like you, the media, we want you to prove to the critique that truly we have what we were supposed to take, because for us production cannot be there in an absence of the information, and media, you are the fourth estate. So in our concept, is local is like a concept. We want the media to grow bigger and better. So without wasting much of our much needed time, all we expect now is you people to get on your board to start doing what's supposed to be done. So I'm going to call upon the national chair, who is no other than Honorable Kalumba to come and give us the kick starting of the program. Mr. Kalumba, sir, over to you.
Thank you, SG. Good morning, everybody. We are glad to host you here at the President's residence. My duty today is very simple. It's just to call upon the President so that he can address us. So let me take this opportunity to now call upon the President and leader of the leadership movement, Dr. Richard Silumbe, to address the media. Dr. Silumbe, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would want to recognize the presence of the national chairman of the leadership movement, Mr. Kalumba David, the LM Secretary General, Mr. Jairo Singoma, our party spokesperson, Mr. Patson Kasongo Chalwe, and the National Management Committee members who are present here. Furthermore, I would like to appreciate and welcome the fourth estate, which is the media, you the people. As the spokesperson has alluded to, the fact that we consider the media as the most important partner with the leadership movement because you are the conduit of our message to Zambia and beyond. Therefore, we believe that you are the silent heroes of this struggle that we are putting up to make Zambia a truly developed nation. And we are cognizant of that fact. Therefore, let me not spend much time, but give you the glimpse of this press briefing. This press briefing is focusing on certain issues that we are hearing around, and these issues need the voice of the leadership movement. If we are to name, or rather identify this press briefing as leadership movement, would identify this as Rise Up, Galamkan, Shibuken, Amubuke. That is the theme of this briefing. Why is it so? Because we as leadership movement, we are very concerned with what is happening in the country today. We have a government that, first of all, it's doing all the decision-making without consultation, wider consultation of many stakeholders. So this is an issue with the leadership movement that is worth commenting. That's number one. Number two, we are concerned with the issue of Cyber Crime Act, which has been enacted recently, and we need to comment and give our opinion on this issue. Number three, we have a pending or pervasive energy crisis. We have seen load shedding in perpetual, or rather in perpetuity. We are not seeing an end to it, and you expect the leadership movement to comment on it. Number four, the high and unprecedented levels of poverty that we are experiencing here in this country today. And number five, the high unemployment levels that we are experiencing as a country today. But before I go into the details of these issues that I've highlighted, I would like to state that we as leadership movement joined the rest of the country in mourning the 3 children who died as a result of a lightning strike. And our heart is with those bereaved families who are mourning. And I would like at this point in time to call upon all of us to stand and take a moment of silence in respect to our mourning of these children. Thank you very much. Our deep condolences goes to the bereaved family. Ladies and gentlemen, we as leadership movement, as you are aware by now, we have been a consistent political party that consistently participate in general elections as well as by-elections. So I would like to take this opportunity to assure the nation that leadership movement is here to stay, and we are going to participate in these upcoming by-elections, be it the Milenge by-election, which is roaming, the Lumezi one, as well as the ones that are in Western Province. So be rest assured that leadership movement as a party stands strong, and it will forge ahead to ensure that this country achieves the radical progress and development that we wish to see as a country. When we look at the issues that we are talking about, number one, the UPND lack of consultation, lack of stakeholder involvement in whatever they are doing, be it the enactment or rather the implementation of the curriculum, the new curriculum, which we have witnessed, and we are seeing what is happening today. The curriculum is scheduled to a serious problem, cultural as well as developmental problems, because the curriculum has been implemented without much stakeholder consultation and preparations. Therefore, we are seeing at the moment a country running a new curriculum without any books that have been prescribed to handle that particular direction of education. So these are frightening for the country, to have a government that does not do its homework and just implements these policies haphazardly without thinking about the consequences. The leadership movement is very much worried at the rate at which the UPND government is implementing these policies without consultation. Let me take you to another example of lack of consultation, which concerns the nation today. The implementation of, or rather the enactment of amendments of the Constitution. As leadership movement, we have been clear on this issue. We don't want to care about the content of this amendment, because we know that every amendment that comes, it has to be understood by the rest of the country, because they are stakeholders. We do not need to put up rubber stamp people to parrot the words of the government as though the content and the procedure of the amendment of the Constitution is something that the nation can benefit. But as leadership movement, we know that that is just a cover-up. I can cite an example here with the issues relating to enactment of the amendment of the Constitution. The government tells us that when they enact this, or rather when they make these amendments to the Constitution, we are going to see more women participate in politics, and we are going to see more youths appointed. But when we go back to the Constitution, we are going to see that there are so many provisions in our Constitution that allows for a proportional representation. 50%. The Constitution of the Republic of Zambia states can be proportionate with our women as well as our young people. But the UPND tells us that only the Constitution amendment is going to guarantee that. Another example is when we talk about the Vice President, we have seen different leaders, including our President, Hakainde Hichilema, appointing the Vice President as a woman. And the Constitution does not stop him from doing that. Therefore, the idea that changing the Constitution is going to guarantee those things is a cover-up. In any case, it is untrue and it cannot be relied on. We urge the UPND government to tell the Zambian people the truth and not to hide behind semantics. If they wanted to support women, we would see the president taking the lead, nominating more women in parliament, nominating or providing more appointments, more young people being appointed. All the embassies today, they are filled with old people. No young person has been appointed as a diplomat. So if they are telling us that their constitutional amendment is the one that is going to guarantee this, then every Zambian citizen should see for themselves that these are outright lies. So therefore, as leadership movement, we believe that the constitution amendment should not be taking place today. The timing is wrong. The UPND government has a mandate given by the Zambian people based on the promises that they gave the Zambian people. Among the promises was to reduce the cost of fuel, to reduce the cost of mealie meal, to provide more jobs to the young people, to ensure that the dollar in relation to a kwacha becomes affordable. In short, to reduce the value of the dollar. But all those things, after 4 years of being in power, have never been delivered to the Zambian people. And now they want the Zambian people to believe that only the constitutional amendment is going to guarantee those promises. As leadership movement, we say no to the constitutional amendment and we outrightly reject the process of amendments until it is widely consulted and we ensure that every Zambian understands and have a stake in each and every point that needs to be changed. We have so many examples in the so-called floated points they want to work on in the amendment of the Constitution. Among them is the issue of reducing the cost of expenditure as a result of people who file in their nominations for a certain election, then they withdraw, and the government tells us that produces, it makes a wastage high in terms of the cost of running elections, and therefore by changing the constitution, we are going to reduce such type of losses. And yet the truth lies elsewhere. Leadership movement is on record. We know that it does not need the constitution amendment to provide good governance or good leadership. We were the first political party, when a candidate withdrew, to write to ECZ and tell them to proceed with an election without inconveniencing any person or any political party, as well as the government, because we knew that this would amount to outright loss of resources, government resources. And we did that. And from that point, the ECZ told us that we have set a right precedence. And from that time, we have never seen ECZ go to new nominations after a candidate withdraws, because we set the precedence. Therefore, leadership movement did that already. We do not need a constitution amendment, but rather to just do what is right. We know that the UPND government was voted in power, and President Hakainde Hichilema sought to uphold the constitution and not to change the constitution. So we expect him to do just that. The next point of concern as leadership movement is the issue of cyber law, the cyber crime bill, which has been recently enacted. We know for sure that where we have tools like social media, many people can abuse such tools, whilst it is serving a very right purpose, but other people would use it for anarchy and for serious theft. And from that point of view, it is incumbent on government to ensure that we enact laws that help the society to be protected. Each and every each and every citizen must be protected, because we need laws that protect our citizens. Therefore, as leadership movement, we see this as a double-edged sword. Whilst we know that it would help ensuring that we curb on crime, but we know that government can use this to suffocate the citizens from freedom of expression. We do not want these laws that we enact to be used to reduce on freedoms of expression, clamping down political parties from expressing their views, and ensuring that people do not voice out. So these are the concerns that the leadership movement has. And we are urging the government not to use that as a leeway to clamp down on freedom of expression. Because if they do that, remember, power does not last long. They have a few years in office. And these same laws that they enact, they are going to haunt them. So we can only wish that they realize this fact and ensure that cybercrime bill is meant to curb criminal activities and not to suffocate the freedom of expression of the media, as well as political opposition political parties and other organizations that wish to voice out. These are the issues that we want the UPND to know, because when you enact these laws, you should enact laws that are timeless, not laws that only fit your situation. We can only hope that the UPND government would adhere to this advice and ensure that they stick to what is best for this country. The next point that leadership movement is having high concern is the high levels of poverty that are alarming in this country. Whilst the UPND government has told us that they are developing this country, but the truth lies elsewhere. No country that is headed for development can enact such reckless policies that they are doing today. Example given is cash for work. Those type of policies or programs that do not add value to the society, that do not provide for industrialization of the country, that do not provide for production, and so on and so forth. Look at how CDF has been mismanaged. The reality tells us that CDF is just a cover-up, or rather a program that is meant to only enrich the UPND community and not the larger part of the Zambian people. So such type of policies or programs are not helping this country. No wonder we are seeing the growth in terms of poverty and people are suffering. We have been on record as leadership movement advising the UPND to go to any developed country and understand what brings about development. What brings about development, or what is common in all developed nations, is number one, industrialization. Industries keep on mushrooming in a country. Number two, they ensure that they make use of their natural resources to their own benefit. And with this, you find that all these developed countries, they grow bigger and better, and they are productive because all the policies that they have, they are based on ensuring that you own the natural resources, you make sure that you make use of your land, and you ensure that you industrialize. You create industries, you create mines, you create production centers, and with that you are going to have products that you can sell out there and be able to earn forex. Now, when we look at our situation today, how many products are we producing here in Zambia? As much as we hear the UPND government chanting slogans that they have fulfilled all the developmental requirements for this country, they have done 90% of their promises. Zambians are able to see through what is happening because we are not seeing any development. Development starts with the industries that we are seeing coming up, mushrooming. Numbers of young people are being employed in those industries. And the number of products that we, the Zambian people, are able to crank out and foreigners are able to buy, and in return we get the forex. What we are seeing today with the economy is a quick fix, or rather a cover-up of the economy, where today copper has been sold by some foreigners. We don't own any copper mine here in Zambia. Yet when these people who own copper, they'll sell the copper with billions of dollars. Then what comes here, when they have gotten the money from their offshore accounts, be it in Switzerland, in Dubai, what they are going to bring here in Zambia is a few hundreds of thousands of dollars as petty cash to come and pay those employees. And when that money comes, hits Bank of Zambia, and then we see the dollar comes a little bit down, and everyone is thinking that we are developing, that we are heading anywhere. And yet those few dollars that those that come in under Bank of Zambia, when they are exchanged and they are finished, there is no other source of dollars. And the kwacha against us depreciating. So this is what is happening today. And this is not development. Development has been described by the leadership movement again and again. We need to own production. How do we own production? We have spelled up the steps. Number one, in a country like this, where you have millions of young people, uneducated mostly, and unemployed that is cheap labor. We expect the government to make use of that under ZNS, creation of state farms in every district, so that we can produce whatever products, farm products, to curb the cost of meal. With the millions of young people who are uneducated and unemployed, we can create ZNS mines. If villagers in Serenje, for instance, in Impika, in Mumbwa here, they are able to pick gold. In Kasensele, people, young people, and just villagers are able to pick gold. What can stop us from having a ZNS mine? Those are the steps we can take. If we have the ZNS mine, step number 2, we need to allow all those young people and many other Zambians who would want to participate in mining to find where to sell the minerals. Today, as we speak, only the Chinese own our minerals. Those are the only ones who are the merchandise owners, and that is where you can sell your gold. When you get gold in Mumbwa, you have nowhere to sell it, except to the Chinese. And they are going to dictate the price. Just in Mukushi, people who dig manganese, 1 ton will cost, they will go to a Chinese and sell it at 50 kwacha per ton. And yet the cost of manganese would be around $2,500 per ton. Those Chinese, those foreigners around, they are making huge money out of us because we have a sleeping government, a government that does not care for the Zambian people, a government that is not ready for development. We want ZNS mines. We want to participate in production. We want the Mineral Reserve Agency. The Mineral Reserve Agency, we propose as leadership movement, should work just like FRA. If you can grow maize and harvest, let's say, 100 bags and go to FRA, no one will ask you for a license. Where is your license for growing that maize? There's nothing like that, because they know that you are using your land. You are a Zambian, and they will buy those bags, and you make a little bit of money. The same must apply to our minerals. We want a Mineral Reserve Agency where those people in Mumba who are right now upset because they can find gold, and that gold will earn them nothing because they are only giving it out to foreigners. We want those people to go to the Mineral Reserve Agency and sell their gold, sell their copper, sell their manganese, sell all these things, and we start growing the reserve for our natural resources. We want to have a reserve for copper, reserve for gold, reserve for manganese, reserve for cobalt, reserve for uranium. When we have these things, if the government doesn't have money, we expect a president to go out there and strike contracts, talk about how many metric tons of copper he is willing to sell, how many metric tons of gold, of manganese, of all these minerals. As we speak today, you, the media, go to your government offices and ask them, how much reserve do we have for copper? Do we have even 1 kg in reserve? The answer will be categorical 0, nothing. How many kilograms of gold do we have in reserve as a result of the gold that has been found here in Zambia? They will tell you we have nothing, and yet they call that they are developing this country. So that is not development, and we need radical leadership that is able to implement unpopular decisions to ensure that it benefits the Zambian people. And that is the leadership movement's creed. Our revolutionary direction is to ensure that Zambians have a share of their natural resources. We need to own land with title deeds. We need to participate in mining. We need ZNS state farms. We need ZNS mines. And we need Zambians who would participate in mining to do that without any problems. Government should provide for Zambians to participate in these things and earn a living out of it. Not where we have miners who are called illegal miners, who are called Jerabos, and yet these people need to be supported. They need to work hand in hand with the Mineral Reserve Agency and stockpile the reserve for all these minerals. A Jerabo today will get copper in Chingola, in those pits. He has nowhere to take that 100 kg of copper. You go to a Chinese will tell him, oh, this copper concentrate has got little copper, therefore we'll just give you 100 kwacha. And they go back to the pit. They are not developing. When we have the Mineral Reserve Agency, it is going to quantify the amount of copper, and those people are going to earn much more from their produce, and in return, this government is going to have a reserve, and we are going to grow bigger and better as a country. So these are the issues that we have been raising, and we are very concerned at the moment because this government is not taking this country anywhere, but rather it's failure after failure. When we come to the issue of high unemployment rate, again, we have seen how unemployment is unfolding. We have seen this government boast of 40,000 teachers being employed against 300,000 teachers who have graduated. 11,000 nurses being employed against 200,000 nurses who are languishing in the streets. That does not amount to employment. You cannot have a government that boasts of 11,000 against 200,000. 40,000 against 300,000. Doesn't make sense. We need a government that provides jobs, millions of jobs. And we have highlighted how we can achieve those millions of jobs. We need ZNS mines. We need ZNS state farms. We need industrialization. We need to start producing these raw materials and adding value. And with that, we create more industries and more production. From that point, we can now talk about the perpetual load shedding that we are experiencing in this country today. We are seeing how load shedding has failed to go away, despite the President Hakainde Hichilema, looking into the camera and tell the Zambian people that he has the 5 beta kappa key to end load shedding. He often said, if in Dubai there is no water, no rivers, but they have power 24/7, what can make us fail to achieve that? That is what he told the Zambian people. Yet he had nothing to offer. He didn't even have the scientific understanding of what energy production has to do with it. We expect a president to do his research. We expect the president to have enough time to research. They had enough time to be in opposition. 15 years in opposition was enough to understand how they are going to go about load shedding. But because they didn't have time to do that, as leadership movement, we are urging the UPND government to get back to work, to not continue with all these quick fix measures in terms of handling load shedding that do not even work. When you ask any Zambian today who has a solar source, they will tell you that they cannot use solar to cook their food, to run their stoves, to run their air cons, to run their so many things. And yet we have this government that is all around bragging that they are solving the energy crisis. They are bringing back power and all that. They do not have any solution. So the leadership movement today has the 5 beta kappa key to ending load shedding by way of going nuclear. We have been clear. The only way we can achieve massive industrialization, massive production, is by ensuring that we have enough production of power. And the only way is through nuclear power production. Many people question, why nuclear? Well, it is simple. There is no developed country that doesn't have the nuclear power plant. Or China, we can talk about the UK, Europe has got mushrooming nuclear power stations around. America, almost every state is having a nuclear power plant. Just some 4 months ago in Georgia, they opened a nuclear power plant. That is the solution for Africa, because nuclear power production is green. By that, it means that it has little pollution. The waste from the nuclear will come after 5 years. Very little waste. If you use uranium, for it to decay over a period of 5 years, it will just give you little waste. And that waste can be kept by way of underground storage. So these are the things that we are talking about. But we have a government that has got no foresight, that does not want to compete on the world stage. We as leadership movement, we have seen an opportunity in the power crisis, because the power crisis, it is a Southern African crisis. So if we make the right decision and have a nuclear power plant here in Zambia, a small nuclear power plant would produce up to 15,000 megawatts. And when we talk about the 3,000 deficit that we have, it's a drop in an ocean with just one nuclear power plant. And we have been talking about these things, and it falls on deaf ears because these people are scared. They do not understand the science behind that. They are swayed by rumors from the developed nations. They are doing it, then they are busy whispering to you, oh, it is dangerous, don't do it. You be scared. You see, nuclear power production is the only way. When we put up one nuclear power plant, we have uranium in Solwezi, and no one will talk about that. All that uranium goes to America. Only the devil knows how they use it there. No one talks about it. We need these God-given resources to work for us and not for foreigners. So in this sense, we as leadership movement, we want to go nuclear if the UPND government doesn't heed to the advice of ensuring that we become the powerhouse of Southern Africa. We as leadership movement, we wait to do that, because the sooner we do that, the better. Imagine if we put up a nuclear power plant in Zambia. It means that we are going to export power to the rest of Southern Africa, and billions of dollars will come to this country. We'll be the pioneers of this kind of technology. And the rest of Africa will say, why should we build a nuclear power plant when Zambia has? It will be easier for them to just import. But we want to be the leaders. We want to produce and sell, and we need to think of growing our economy. A leadership that thinks about growth would always take very decisive decisions. But leaders who have no desire, no DNA for development, they'll be just giving excuses, as we are seeing, talking about solar, which will never solve the problem. The sooner we act now towards nuclear power production, the better. We'll be the center point, the producers of Southern African power, and we are going to make a lot of money as a country. We are going to be competing with the likes of Burkina Faso. All of you people, you have followed how a revolutionary leader thinks, how they do things. At least today, when we started talking about certain ideas as a leadership movement, we were so lonely in Africa because it has taken decades since we experienced revolutionary leaders. What we have today now are puppets who are paid for by foreigners, and then they are told to become presidents, and they will be now following what they are told by foreigners. We miss the days, the Kenneth Kaunda days, the likes of, Mwalimu Kambarage Nyerere and all these great leaders. Kwame Nkrumah, you can name them. Thomas Sankara, you can name them. These were young people. These were not these madalas where you are putting in power. 60 years of age, they are outdated, they have no new ideas, and you vote for them and you think that they are going to bring development. And what we get is what we are seeing today. Look at the young person, 37 years old, Ibrahim Traore. What he's doing in Burkina Faso. He knows that natural resources belong to the Burkinabes, and he's doing that. He has owned the gold of Burkina Faso, and out of that gold, he has sold it and he has paid off massive debt. He is doing massive development, road constructions, massive state farms, and so many things happening there. They are making cars, electric cars. They are making planes in 2 years. And we have the so-called wise leader who tells us that they are going to fix this economy. And 4 years now, nothing has been fixed. These are the problems, and we want the Zambian people to see their leaders for who they are. Because we as leadership movement, we knew that UPND will not deliver from the onset. When they stand on this podium, they talked about foreign investors, they talked about bringing more aid to Zambia, they talked about their connections with Americans, they talked about auctioning our natural resources. We saw their rallies, and we watched them, and we saw how Zambia went crazy with them, and they put them in power. And today, what we are seeing, to us as leadership movement, is just a confirmation of what we saw and what we knew from the onset. Therefore, we urge the Zambian people to ensure that they assess their leaders. Whoever comes on the podium and talk about connections with foreigners, talks about foreign investors, you should know outright that this is a sellout. He's not going to deliver for Zambia. He has nothing to offer to any Zambian family or Zambian citizen. We should emulate leaders like Ibrahim Traore, and we are seeing unprecedented development going on, and many leaders are now following through what a young man, a 37-year-old leader, can do. This is a lesson to Zambia, and these are the things that we should be emulating as Zambians if we are to go towards the direction of development. And Burkina Faso, today as we speak, is leading in the revolutionizing of Africa to become a self-sufficient nation or continent that is able to take care of its own people and its own resources. These are the things that leadership movement talks about. But we know as leadership movement, again, that Zambians need enough time to be educated about these things. Zambians need to realize that copper is their only resource that God has given them. We cannot afford to give it to foreigners. Land, it is our only resource. God has stopped manufacturing land for us. If we auction this land and give it to foreigners and have thousands of hectares given to foreigners, we are not going to have a country anymore. Our future generations will be relegated to combons and small places where they will not even fulfill their dreams of development. These are the things that leadership movement always talks about, and will continue talking about these things so that Zambians can now start developing a mindset, a national mindset. We call it as leadership movement the national agenda for Zambia. Not a colonial mindset that thinks that anything foreign is better. A colonial mentality that thinks that only foreigners can develop Mother Zambia, which has been fed to us for a long time. And we expect foreigners to do everything for us. These are the issues that we need to digest and take to the Zambian people to start realizing that everything is in our hands. The sooner we put in power government that takes care of our natural resources, the better for industrialization, the better for production, and we are going to see a Zambia that is developing, a Zambia that grows bigger and better in terms of economic development, and not this rise that we are getting perpetually from the UPND government. With these few words, I thank you and hope that we can open up for questions, right? Yes.
We thank you, Mr. President, for that timely warning on the direction of the country. May I not take time, immediately call for questions. And Mwatita is going to start, of course. The name and the media where you are coming from.
That you are offering here. I know that press briefing is just one of the channels to reach out to them. But I also try to walk to them, walk up to their offices and actually speak audience on some of the solutions that you are providing here so that we can see how we can develop that.
Thank you. We'll take two more. Yes, yes, sir.
Mr. President, mine is on the issue that you have highlighted, the progressive issue that is to do with the power generation in terms of nuclear power. We have heard a number of forms saying that that form of energy is expensive. I just want to hear from you. I think it's
All right.
how expensive that is.
Thank you. We shall have one. I think I will Mkoveko. You may proceed, sir.
What's your take? Because there are others who are against and others are for it. So what's your comment on that?
Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Let me start with the lady. First of all, we as leadership movement, we have been talking about these ideas from 2021. I remember it was just 3 months after the 2021 general elections. I was on radio Hot FM, and we talked about issues to do with ZNS, making use of these young people who are energetic in the production system of our country. And many people echoed so much resentment because those ideas, they looked like they are outdated, and many people thought they have now brought in place a capitalist who is going to put in place many ideas from foreign entities that are going to develop this country. And we knew definitely that this is bound to fail. And we have been consistent in talking about how we can make use of our natural resources. Among them is our energy of the young people. And over the period of 4 years, we have seen government actually adopting some of these ideas. You know, sometimes it shouldn't take us to go to knock into someone's office and give them ideas, but it makes it easier to talk about these ideas so that government can jot notes and do something. But what we have seen today is that as much as we are seeing them adopting some of us, we talked about that they rescinded the decision. They went on to Eagles milling. Things we talked about earlier to say we need state farms in every district. We cannot go by lying to the Zambian people by, importing maize, repackaging it, and branding it as Eagles milling. So these things, they point to the fact that these people are listening, except that they do not know how to go about these issues because their ego Imagine someone winning by 1 million votes. Would he listen to someone with less than 2,000 votes? He can't. So the ego wouldn't let them. So they will go with their ideas, the popular ideas. But we believe that popularity doesn't mean anything. People can be in millions, but they can still be wrong. In fact, the Bible says the road to hell is the biggest one, with a lot of people going there. So that is what it is. The UPND government, they have failed, but we are seeing their turnaround. Just recently, we heard of them talking about having a ZNS copper mine. That's positive, but we need that copper mine like yesterday, not in 2027. We are seeing ZNS, they are talking about implementing voluntary ZNS programs. I doubt if they can even take place because, first of all, the concept, the idea behind it, it is totally wrong. You cannot put up a voluntary ZNS program to get young people with the purpose of disciplining them. They say they want to discipline young people. So therefore, ZNS comes in place. Our mission is different. Our mission is production. The reason for getting young people in ZNS is so that they can know that they have something to contribute to the development of this country. Whether they are educated or not educated, they have something to contribute to the development of this country because they matter, because they have energy, they have talent, and they are people who are going to have children, and they have an inheritance. Therefore, it is just incumbent on every Zambian to participate in production. That is the reasoning behind that. On our government, it's different. It's just about disciplining young people, beating them up so that they stop whatever they want them to stop. That cannot work. That's why it is doomed to failure. We need young people who know that they are there for production and they are adding value to their country. So that is what makes the difference. But by and large, we are seeing them now understanding and slowly digesting what we are talking about. Maybe in no time we are going to see them doing just what we are talking about. But the pace is very slow. So we would rather ask them to speed up, because when they develop this country, we are all going to be happy. It is not only us to do these things, but we expect the UPND government to do these things, and the sooner the better for the interest of the Zambian people. Then the next question that talks about the energy. Yes. When we talk about the nuclear power plants, we use nuclear reaction, the radioactive decay, speeded up decay for us to produce enough heat to heat the waters, to turn the turbines and produce electricity. That is the concept about nuclear power production. But when we hear rumors that all these things are dangerous, all these things they can kill people, when we compare nuclear power with hydropower disasters, you are going to see that many people have died from electricity. And by the way, in the 1900s, it was the same. People were scared of electricity until they invented, all those insulators, and power could come into houses. Before that, it was only in industries because people understood what a short circuit can do. But today, people have accepted that. It's a huge risk to have electricity in your house than to have a power plant somewhere else. When we talk about disasters, how many dams have exploded? A lot. More than 100 dams have exploded and killed people. How many nuclear power disasters? Since 1900s, when nuclear power production started, only 2 disasters. The first one was at Chernobyl in Ukraine. The cause of that disaster is clear. What caused the disaster in Chernobyl was negligence by the engineers. Because, when you are regulating the production of power through nuclear, you use boron rods. They are able to regulate how much radioactivity can happen or how much it can reduce. So they lower the boron rods to increase, because they produce more protons and the radioactive reaction will take place and produce more heat. When you pull them up, it reduces. So instead of pulling up those boron rods to ensure that they regulate the amount of power produced, they lowered those boron rods until it reached thousands of degrees Celsius of temperatures and exploded. That's how the Chernobyl nuclear power disaster happened. And indeed, it's very dangerous when it happens like that. But that is number one. Number two, it was the Fukushima disaster. That nuclear power plant was caused by an earthquake at the sea in Japan, and it blew off the nuclear power plant. Only two since 1900. Electricity, so many. Even today we are hearing people dying of electricity. So, two against many, and you say it's dangerous. Oh, we can't do it. How many nuclear power plants? China is having more than 20, if not 30, nuclear power plants. Because they produce a lot, they need power. In Russia, there are so many. In America, there are so many. The whole Europe has got mushrooming nuclear power plants going on. So if someone tells you that it's very dangerous, what is the reference point? We have so much vast space. In fact, we are very depopulated here compared to small nations in Europe, like China as well. Millions of people, as we have even places. You can have a nuclear power plant near the Lake Bangweuru there, and it will be safe, and it will provide electricity for the rest of Southern Africa. This is what we need as a country, and not those ideas of solar. And so the amount of money we are spending in building those solar panels can actually do so much in terms of building a nuclear power plant. And by the way, Ibrahim Traore is now finalizing a nuclear power plant. You see? So we need to be comparing ourselves with such people. If they have in Western Africa, what about us? Why can't we have it and ensure that we are the ones to provide power to South Africa and all these places around us? That is the kind of decision that we need to do as Zambians, so that we can get enough forex and be able to grow our economy, because it's business. Those issues relating to safety, this is why we have engineers, we have partners, we can partner with so many people and build a nuclear power plant and be able to use it in an efficient manner. And use, by the way, the uranium that we have, that can be enriched and be used as fuel for nuclear power production. The next question was about the amendment of the Constitution. You know, we have seen so many people paraded, being told what to do, like parrots, just repeating the words from the government. In any case, many of these people have not even gone through that constitutional amendment that has been floated. They do not understand all that. But because they are paid, and we hear right now the government has gone flat out, especially with the media, just to put that message that, oh, it's a good thing, we need to do this, and more money has been spent in terms of ensuring that everyone is drowned in this agenda of constitutional amendment, which, by the way, is not even an issue. The issue with the Zambian people is delivering cheap mealie meal in their homes, in their households. The agenda is reducing the cost of living, the cost of fuel, the cost of electricity, and so many other commodities that are just floating endlessly with high costs. That is what we expect from the UPND government. But they have not done any of those things, and they are now busy in overdrive to change the constitution. So you need to be worried at the intentions for that change of the constitution. We can only preempt. You know, some of these things, they know that they may not reach 50+1 majority. Therefore, they know that when they change the constitution, they are going to have too many MPs. The agenda for delimitation is to increase the number of MPs in their stronghold, so that when they have enough MPs, they can do whatever they want in government. The other contentious issue is about ensuring that they change the number of nominated MPs so that it becomes endless. They want to remove the clause in the constitution that says only 8 MPs should be nominated. They want it to be up to parliament, so that when they go in parliament, and now they have so many MPs under the UPND, and they can move in and say, we are going to nominate another 100. And now the House will be full of UPND cadres in parliament and do whatever they want. They can even change the constitution further to make the president become maybe even life president, because there is no limit to anything they can do when they are the majority in parliament. So these are the issues that we are worried about, and we only want to urge the people of Zambia to ensure that we oppose this change as much as possible, and ensure that we postponed any change of the constitution until after 2026, because then the Zambian people will have enough time to digest and see where they want to go as a people.
Ladies and gentlemen, do we have any more questions? Just, I think last set of 3 should do. My dear, any other? Yes.
My name is Adora Nyuenda. Interested in Mr. President, you talked about solar energy, and if I got you correct, you said this cannot really be a solution to our energy deficit. Now, interestingly, the president has said the country needs about 11.9 billion dollars, for Zambia's solar goal. That is to deal with the energy deficit and to add about 1,000 megawatts of solar energy to the national grid, with an addition of $9.5 billion from the private sector investment. Do you think this is still viable?
We have another before.
Oh, before, okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so we are taking that. This is the last question, Mr. President.
Actually, let me add on to say also, government investors have also changed a debt restructuring deal of about $335 million. So this is also an agreement with India's Exim Bank to deal with debt restructuring. Do you also think this is a viable deal?
Yes, so these are the things that we always talk about. We are talking about billions of dollars in theory that are floated around. We have seen, I can just say, maybe to cite examples of such, such amounts is what we hear from the mining sector. Today we hear that Barrick has invested about $5 billion in the mining sector, in Lumwana, for instance, and yet everyone is poverty-stricken. No one even sees where the $5 billion has gone. You hear, KCM has injected another $2.5 billion US dollars. You go to Mufurira or Kitwe, it's a sorry sight. You go to Chingora, where KCM is, it's a sorry sight. Ochirira Bombwe. These are the issues that we are talking about. Theoretical money that does not add value to this country. And these people keep on, bringing these issues just to blindfold the Zambian people. When we ask ourselves that 11.5 billion, where is President Hakainde Hichilema and the government going to get it from? If they will engage in serious borrowing, moving around, looking for money, that is their issue. But the Zambian people need to open their eyes. how much more debt are they going to leave to future generations? When we are looking for 11 billion, and yet we have copper and we have no stake in it, we have gold, and government is not doing anything to benefit from that gold. We have manganese, we have cobalt, we have all these minerals. We would rather have a government that starts with mining. We start raising enough resources so that we can now engage in all those projects. These projects, at most, they are theoretical because we know, you and me, we know that government will not afford to have that money. And the solar project is just a cover-up or a superficial, makeup to make Zambians believe that, oh, there's something happening in this country. We have seen we have a 54 megawatt solar farm here passing through this grid. At night, there's nothing produced. In the morning, it starts, depending in June, it lowers to maybe 2,000. From 54 megawatts maybe to even thousands of watts. Very little is produced. And you say, oh, we are fixing this, the economy with solar panels. It will never help. What that will do is just at most alleviate a little bit, but the aspect of development can never be achieved with solar. When you see the Chinese policy in solar, it is about households. It's not about production. It's not about industries and all that. Their industries are powered by nuclear power plants. That's what they do. Solar is for poor people who need only light and so on and so forth. And they make that for the poor. So we cannot continue consuming technology that is meant for the poor. Then we do not think, and we have no direction as a people. We need to harness technology that empowers us to grow the economy and become productive and become industrialized. That is the agenda. So all these semantics of getting 11 billion, so and on and so on, with power does not amount to anything. They say for every hack, for all the hacking, or every hacking at the leaves, there is but one strike at the root. These people, the UPND government is just hacking at the leaves, removing the leaves and hoping to solve the plant growth issue. You need to strike the root. Then you are going to kill the problem. So that is what is happening. All these things will never take us anywhere until we have a resolved government, a resolved leadership that takes the most difficult decisions and becomes the front runners of technology and development. The country that is going to build a nuclear power plant in Southern Africa would be the game changer, would be the one that is going to give power to everyone and will be colonized by that one because will be dependent on them. They will make billions of dollars for the next centuries until new generations will come and say, wait a minute, in maybe 2100 or 2200, you say, why are we only importing electricity from Zimbabwe? No, Zimbabwe has a nuclear power plant, us we don't have. They'll say, no, we need to have it also. That's when things will change. But we want to be the front runners as leadership movement. We want to be the pioneers. We don't want our children's children to come and do the things that we are discussing today 100 years from now, because they'll perceive us as backward, as backward as those people were put in chains. Imagine 100 years ago, 200 years ago, people in this country lived who could just be put in chains. One white man in a suit gets 200 muscular men, energetic young people, put them in chains, beating them up, and take them to America and work for the rest of their lives. That is the kind of mentality that we are exhibiting even today. When we accept that we cannot do things except for foreigners to do it for us. So the leadership movement is a revolutionary movement that wants game changers, people who think differently. people who question and say, why not us? Why not do this? So those are the things that we want to see as leadership movement.
Thank you so much. We appreciate. I think at this point we should. All the questions have been handled. We can only but thank you, SG.
Okay.
Just a
What is very important is that I know we are supposed to go and start preparing for our bulletin, so we are not going to talk much, but just to wish you well. And you can see the way I am. KK.